What's up, nerd family? Welcome once again to the Point Extra Lounge. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, and it's good to have you with me in the lounge today. Now, today is going to be a fun day because we have a special guest. But look, if this is your first time to the lounge, just know that the Point Extra Lounge is a place for nerds. It's a place where you and me and all of us can get together and talk about the things that we love, things like TV shows, movies, games, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books, superheroes, pretty much anything we want, anything you want, and so much more. And if those are things that you enjoy, then please hit that subscribe button and also that notification bell because you're going to want to be around because we do some fun stuff around here. And so today I'm excited that we have a very special guest. And I just told him, I said, I wanted to do a stream with him because every time I seem to be in the same stream with him or see him on somebody else's channel, everybody's always talking over him, doesn't give him a chance to say anything or whatever. And he's like totally chill. And I totally needed that because right before I went on here, I apologize for the lateness. I got a little dog, Harley Quinn. She's just been spayed and she's going through some stuff. And so like, it was cool. I came in and like, he's just sitting there. He's just chill. He's just cool. He's the guy, you know him. He's the leader of the goblins. He's the voice of the many now who are standing up and saying, no, well, you know what, we're just we're going to be ourselves, we're going to do our own thing. And he's an agitator of sorts sometimes, but he does it well and does it with class. And welcome to the Point Extra Lounge, Mr. Film GOB.
Hello everyone, what's happening? I'm in the Point Extra Lounge. I love it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, it's good
to be here. Good to be here with Enosh. Like you say, usually because we've been on Mad Max's streams a couple of times, and that's how we kind of met. And it's good to have a more one-to-one kind of session.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, look, man, it's really good to talk to you, man. I love your demeanor. I love how you present yourself because there's so many just loud people out there and you just seem to be really cool and chill. Is that just like your thing, man?
Well, when I started YouTube, that's who I was, because I was just doing kind of regular film reviews. I would do a written review and then post that wherever on the internet and then use that as the template for a video that I would do for the review, whatever. I would also have a kind of movie news, kind of straightforward movie news podcast. And I did that for the first year. I didn't really my channel didn't even go anywhere. It was like, I think I got like 50 subscribers or something. And then I thought, I want to have a bit of fun. Let's just kind of wind people up. That's when I started the Shorty McShortbread character, with his hat and his funny accent. And that's when I did a review of Captain America Civil War, because by then I was sick of the MCU, so I thought I'm just going to say what I feel like it. And then that's when I made new subscribers, got to 100 and then 200, back in those days. But I got a lot of hate as well from the MCU fanboys. Yeah. But that's YouTube for you. But I'm not as chill as people think because my characters that I have on my channel are a bit more louder than I am.
Yeah. Well, I understand what you mean because as much as I've enjoyed various MCU movies, I kind of felt the same way. I mean, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I've seen this story before, I've done this before, and it gets frustrating after a while. Like when you want something maybe a little more deeper, and it's not always the popular idea, it's not the popular thing to say. And so it's definitely an uphill battle if you're trying to win people over and on YouTube if you're doing that kind of thing.
Like I wouldn't have a problem with the MCU if it was just if it existed and it was there, right? I wouldn't have a problem with it. But the media and the fans, they praise it and then they attack other franchises,
Yeah.
and I saw that with Man of Steel, BVS, and I was like, I'm not taking this. I'm going to say something about it. So yeah, that's basically my channel. Basically, I do the my character Shorty McShortbread. He used to do these rotten reviews, where it was like you take normally sometimes you see reviews from film critics and they talk about everything except the film. So they talk about politics. I don't like this director because something happened and all these things happened on the production and I'm not happy about that. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I'd take that idea and just kind of, I would start review films that I've not seen, but I would take I do it in a comedic way, obviously.
Mm.
And some people didn't like it, so they don't get the joke. But I think the last one I did was Captain Marvel. And that was the last time I did, Shorty did a review of that, in a rotten review. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's funny because, I kind of did a similar thing with creating like a character on the channel as well last year. That because we would get in these live streams and we'd be talking about Star Wars and stuff leading up to the Rise of Skywalker, because I'm a big Star Wars fan, and we'd get in these discussions, and one of the people who would always pop up, their name would always pop up, would be Mike Zero. And and just the stuff that he puts out there, and just kind of the way that he projects himself, and just the crazy ideas and thoughts that the guy comes up with, making like 8 to 10 videos a day, just putting out just garbage news, and never citing anything, because he's just making it up, and or copying it from Reddit or something, something like that. And just the idea popped in, like, wouldn't it be funny to kind of make a parody of that, just pointing out some of that silliness. And so I made this character Mark Uno, and so I started doing that. And it's funny because it's it struck a nerve with people. Like, people were like, yeah, they really like it. And all of a sudden, you start getting this feedback, that it's like, this is really funny. This is something that people like. And, and I would like, because Mike would always add, like all these people who were working on Star Wars behind the scenes, George Lucas is coming back, and, Kathleen Kennedy. And you'd always, highlight Chris Terrio, who had written the movie. And I was just like, so I kind of developed this kind of thing that, like, Mark Uno just had this infatuation for Chris Terrio, and just couldn't say anything bad about Chris Terrio. So he'd say bad stuff about everybody else, but he'd get to Chris Terrio and just be like, I can't do it, guys. I just love Chris Terrio. And so it just became funny. Like, we'd add names, like some plumber in New York had, written the movie or something. And so it was just a fun thing. And so I get that making like a character and just having fun with it, and just poking fun. There's a difference between being mean about something and then just poking fun at it, and just having some fun. And I see when I watch your videos, like, I think that it strikes a nerve with people, because I think you are saying something very important about the topics that you cover, but you do it in a way that you're having fun, and really you're not hurting anybody. I do like your videos though, like when you point out some hypocrisies and stuff, and then like you just kind of just nail it to the wall, and you just got to put it there.
I mean, just going back to like these YouTubers who put out 10 videos a day, there's quite a few. There's Emergency Awesome, I think, is one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and Comic Book Cast, and all these channels. But it's a hustle, it's a grind, So I don't do that. I mean, I think the most I used to do was like maybe 2 short videos a day, and even then it was just kind of comedic, funny edits and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've kind of I'm kind of known for the kind of people keep. I'd say, oh, you edit out the context. It's out of context. I'm like, I usually go like, when I'm doing these kind of videos, whether it's about that corner or Mr. Campia or whoever, right? So I usually go for the context and I take it out and I put it in the video and compare it to something else they've said before, or if it, I've done loads of videos on campaign, I know that much, and it's like a lot of fans, they just can't accept that their favorite YouTuber is kind of lying to them, or stringing, what's the phrase? Stringing them along. Is that the one?
Yeah. Stringing them along. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I like to be. There've been different kind of. I've done different, like a variety of content on my channel. I used to do like fake reactions to trailers. Like you get these YouTubers like shouting and screaming about whatever they're seeing, whether it's Star Wars or MCU latest trailer. So I would do like fake reactions, and that used to piss off people, which is like, clearly these people know that they're watching fake reactions from these other channels. They're not. Nobody behaves that way.
Yeah.
So when I do it, it's a problem. So suddenly, I get downvoted to hell.
Right, like that's what I never understand. Like when you watch some of those channels, like that, and I don't want to harp on Mike Zero, but like you look at some of these channels and you see that like they've got, I think like Mike Zero's topped over like 200,000 subscribers, and he's just got like all these people in his comments and everything that are just like, thank you, Mike, for this news and everything, and you're like, who are these people? Who are these people who are listening to this? One, and like, are all these subscribers like? Because I never subscribed to him, but my kids used to tease me all the time because we used to have a long commute, and I'd listen to videos. Like that was what I did. I listened to YouTube videos. That's how I got into YouTube, and so I'd put it on and I just have it on in the car. And Mike Zero would just always show up because I was a Star Wars fan. I watch other Star Wars videos, and so Mike Zero would always populate in my in my stream. And so my kids would always ask me like, why are you subscribed to him? I'm like, I'm not. He just pops up. I said, and every once in a while I just got to watch one of these things. So I'm like, I wonder if it's like other people are looking at it the same way that I am. It's like a train wreck. It's like I got to kind of look, but I can't look away. But then you run into those comments that it's like people are believing it, people are soaking it up, and then they give you a hard time if you're like, come on guys, like this, you got to be kidding me, right? You can't really believe this, but they get mad about it. It's like they take some ownership of it.
I used to like watch channels that I thought, I kind of like the information they're giving, but it's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of the constant videos, kind of same type of videos, and then it's like, I want something different, So you go looking for other channels, and you find a variety. YouTube's really interesting. You go down this kind of, just today I came across a couple of Zack Snyder supporting channels that I don't see them anywhere else, and I found them on YouTube, so I subscribed. So it's really interesting what you can find if you just kind of turn off the crap, just kind of block the haters.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we've been talking about. But are you like you started off as like, how long have you been doing YouTube?
So I started this channel. I mean, the channel itself has been around for a long time. I mean, because I didn't set out to be a YouTuber, like I made these funny videos for my church and stuff. We used to do these like parody videos, like these Geico commercials and stuff, just doing silly stuff for our church. And I needed a place to kind of upload them so that multiple people could see them. So I started a YouTube account, and so I would upload those videos and stuff and do this funny stuff. And that was kind of it. And then I kind of looked at it as a way where like, I just wanted basically a repository, a place where I could throw up videos of stuff that I had done. And so I did that. So a few of our early videos, I mean, that's all it is. It's just like me playing in my band, and me just, doing things, silly like that. And then about 2014, ish, 2013, 14 ish, right before The Force Awakens came out, I discovered like movie talk YouTube, where because this was stuff that I was into. I was this way. I talked about, DC comics and superheroes and Star Wars and all this stuff with my friends. And I was that guy, so we get in these long discussions, but I didn't do it as an outlet. I didn't talk about it. And so, and I had a radio show, but it wasn't nerd centric. It was like a radio show / podcast. And so there was that. But my wife and I, we got into watching, I mean, back in the day, like the AMC movie news, the John Campias, and, and then when they had, the Chris Harloff and him, we're doing Jedi Council, and, and then you had, John Schnepp doing Heroes, and all that stuff. And that was stuff that I was like, wow, this is cool. There are other people in the world who kind of have the same conversations, the same nerdy conversations that I do. And so we'd watch a lot of that. And then one night, my wife and I, we watched Sharknado 3. And of all things, it was Sharknado 3 that pushed us over the edge, because we watched that and we laughed so hard and we thought it was so crazy and over the top. We looked at each other and my wife said, we should make a video like that and just kind of review it. And so we did. So we just got my phone out, propped it up, and we talked about Sharknado 3 for like a half hour and just kind of laughed our butts off going over like what we had seen, with sharks raining down from space and lightsabers, cutting lightsaber chainsaws, cutting sharks open upon re-entry and all kinds of stuff. And so we did that. And then my wife just kind of said, that'd be kind of fun. Like we go to movies. We're big movie people. We go to movies all the time. And she said, we should just like review stuff. And so she came up with this cool little name. She said, we could call it Spoiled, because we're going to spoil it. We're going to, talk about it, and that's how we started. And then it just kind of, it wasn't titled Poindexter Lounge. It wasn't anything like that. It was, I had just a screen handle name, Enosh Fett. And so it was just that. And that's just kind of what we did for the longest time. And then I did a video. We watched The Flash all the time. And we used to do like these reviews of the TV show, The Flash. And during season 2, they had the storyline of the Man in the Iron Mask when they went to Earth 2. And so I had a theory on who I thought it was. And my wife said, hey, you should do a video about that. So I did this little 8-minute video about it. It's like horrible quality. It's so dumb, the way that it looks, but it blew up and it did like over 1 million hits and it went viral. And then all of a sudden we had people come into the channel and they valued our opinion. All of a sudden I was like, wow, how'd that happen? And all of a sudden I was the Flash guy. I went from a guy who was I'm really a Superman guy, but I became the Flash guy, and everybody was asking me questions about the Flash. And I literally had to like go and like learn, like school myself up on the Flash, because people would be asking us all these questions about the Flash. And so then people asked us to start doing like live streams and watch it with them. And that's how we got into it. And then my wife said, hey, let's, she came up with the name, because obviously I collect toys, and we were at our toy guy, and I would stand there and talk for 2 hours with these guys about all this stuff, nerd stuff. And she joked with that guy. She said, you should put up bar stools around the little thing here. And you guys can just talk. You guys can have like your own little place and call it the Poindexter Lounge. And we all laughed about it. But then Tiffany said, that's kind of what the channel is. People come here and we just talk about nerd stuff, and it's a place for nerds. And that's how we got started, man. And,
yeah,
been doing it ever since, so.
I hope you've got insurance for all those items you've got in your house, like contents insurance.
Yes. It's funny that you mentioned that, man. Cause, this just started off as, I didn't set out to be that guy. Like I didn't set out to have all this stuff. I just had a couple of things from when I was a kid, and this is like 20 years now of collecting. And it was only probably like last year, the year before, that I realized that it was more than just some stuff that I had, that now it's a collection. And so, yeah, so I had to contact my insurance agent and go, hey, maybe take a look at this. So
I know collecting can be addictive. I mean, I've got you can see, Blu-ray collection back there. Even though I don't have a TV, right? I mean, I did, but I had to move it over there in that other room. But I got this room redecorated, and I've still not got my collection back there. So I collect like collector's editions, special editions of films, and so that's sort of back there. Got my comics in that little shelves there. But yeah, I mean, I used to I looked at like Funko Pops, and I thought they look cool, but I know if I buy one, I'm going to buy 2 and 3
Oh
and
my
4.
gosh.
And it's just going to go on and on. And so I never got into Funko Pops. I was like, nope, not doing it.
Just say no.
Yeah. But when it comes to like starting YouTube channels, like I remember when I went to see Man of Steel, right? And I mean, like, even though I was always like going in, I would go to the cinema, I would love movies and grew up with movies. But with Man of Steel, like I loved it so much. So I went home and I looked at the reviews. I was like, what is this? Why are people hating on this?
Yeah.
So I went to find podcasts. I wasn't really into podcasts before, but I kind of looked at different podcasts and settled on 1 or 2. That's when I found AMC Movie Talk on YouTube. And so I was, I used to watch them all the time. And, but since then, Collider, they've sent quite a few copyright strikes to my channel.
Oh my goodness.
I used to piss them off with my edits and my, I've got loads. I should put them up on a second channel. My Star Wars Last Jedi review, it's kind of compilation of different channels reviewing it, and it kind of comes across as they're reading from a script,
Oh boy.
So that got copyright strike twice by Christian Harloff. And a second, so I don't know if you know this. Me and him had a kind of little argument on Twitter.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know
so
that.
he blocked me, and he called me a raging buffoon.
Oh my goodness! You, Mr. Like chill out of. He called you a raging buffoon.
Well, I got my own back when I did another video. You know the one where he goes, "I've been a Star Wars fan for 5 effing years." You've seen that clip?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that, I managed to find that video, but I put it on my channel, but they couldn't do anything because they had deleted it from their side, so they couldn't copyright strike anything there. So that's I've had a few run-ins with Collider and everyone there.
Well, I think that like with that whole thing, it's just that it started off so good. It started off as like you believed it, and it felt like they were like us, right? They were just regular people who, John Campea was kind of above everybody, like he was kind of that leader guy that, he seemed like he had all this cred and stuff, but Christian always kind of seemed like he was your, everyday guy, because he was part of, the schmoes and stuff, and I still have a soft spot in my heart for Mark Ellis. He always seemed like he was like the odd man out in that whole group. He always seemed the most sincere, and I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but I remember watching that, and then it just hit a point where it didn't seem like it was as relatable anymore. It didn't seem like it was our voice anymore that we were listening to. It just, like you said, it seemed like it was almost like a script. It's like everything I liked, everybody started hating, because I came out of Man of Steel the same way, man. I came out of Man of Steel just going, wow, this is like one of the best movies ever. This is going to be great. People are going to love this. This is what people have been waiting for from Superman. And I came out to, like you said, reviews like wanting to go back into the yesteryears of Superman. And it's like, what do you people want? Like they wanted a Superman that had real problems and had to deal with stuff and wasn't overpowered. And then the second you get that and actually having to fight something, and then you get that and then they didn't like that either. Like, well, what version of Superman do you want here?
And didn't Avengers come out a few months later, the first Avengers film, or was it the next year?
When did Avengers come out? Yeah, I think it was like right around there, like 2013, 2014, yeah.
And then because I remember then like comparing, I was like, I didn't like the first Avengers film, and from there it was just like, I thought MCU was just. I thought like the first phase of MCU, I thought they would get better. I thought they would get improved, but they just kind of regressed, or they found a safe spot, safe kind of level.
Yeah.
And they just continued with that. So, yeah, by the time Civil War came out, I was just bored with them. And so began my hate for the MCU. Everyone's like, "Why do you hate the MCU?" So I don't really do kind of MCU hate videos anymore. Maybe I should go back to that. It's good fun. It's kind of cathartic.
Yeah, people are saying that Avengers came out in 2012, and I think that's right. Man of Steel was 2013, and I know what you mean, man, because like I was actually okay with the first Avengers movie. I thought it was cool. It was like, okay, we get to see all these characters on screen. That's awesome. Age of Ultron, that was where I checked out. That was where I had liked everything. I had liked, Iron Man. I had liked Thor. I'd liked all those. Like, I still think that the Captain America movie is just great. I mean, it's a period piece. It's, it's got all these things.
Joe
so
Johnston.
so a lot of the first movies had a lot of heart. They did really well. And then it was like, when they started to kind of build the bigger thing, it almost became a parody of itself, because they just, it was like, you didn't really get full movies. You got these like little short bits of progression, and the rest of it was just a commercial for the next movie. Like, stay tuned for the next episode of this thing, because you're going to want to see that. And by the time I got to Age of Ultron, I don't know. There was so much that I just didn't believe anymore. It's like, so you're telling me that this robot thing took over all of the internet, all of everything, all over the world, has power over all the power grids and everything like that. And I can talk to you, across the world, basically in real time right now. Yet Ultron didn't take over the entire world like that. There's like this, there's like 6 hours before he takes over. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And so that's where I started checking out. It was like, okay, what are we doing here? This is kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, MCU with Joss Whedon, like, he was like the perfect fit, because he's a TV director. He's a TV kind of guy, made for TV, and his kind of aesthetic kind of fits perfectly with MCU, Kevin Feige, and they just continued with that, even with their other directors. I didn't feel you don't really see anything. Like, you've got the Captain Marvel directors who did, they directed Mississippi Grind, which is a really good film with Ben Mendelsohn and Ryan Reynolds. Really kind of like a journey of these kind of two gamblers addicted to gambling. And I was like, oh, it's a good film. I look forward to what they do next. Next film, Captain Marvel. I was like, what the hell? and then you could tell. And I don't need to watch Captain Marvel, right? And I know people get, well, you can't judge it if you've not seen it. Yeah, I can, because if you see say a trailer comes out for a standalone film, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks good. You think, oh, I might check that out. It looks all right. And then you watch it, and then you can judge it, okay? But when it comes to the MCU, I've seen more films in the MCU than I have in any other franchise, right? Mm-hmm. I know there's James Bond and franchises like that who have more films, but MCU, I had seen all of them up until Civil War. After Civil War, it's like, I don't need to watch anything. I can see the trailer. It looks pretty much the same as all these previous films.
Yeah.
It looks crap. So That's why I can say, yes, you can judge MCU films by the trailer.
Yeah, it's like I don't I stopped hating on the MCU. It's not that I hate it. It's just that it just didn't do anything for me. Like everybody, it seemed like I would have a lot of friends, and I got to give it to them. I mean, they definitely found a formula that worked because like somebody said, like they just got to a point where like nobody could even hate on it. Like nobody, not even just hate on it, but you couldn't even be
I could.
well, yeah, but you know what I mean, like yeah, and you did, but I mean, like you couldn't. It was like people didn't want to allow you to be critical of those movies at all. It was just kind of just robotics. Like the movie comes out, everybody goes sees it, and we wait for the next one. And the movie comes out, and everybody goes sees it.
It's the best one yet, guys. You have to see this one. It's the best one yet. See it
Exactly.
IGN and Collider.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go see it right now. And I'm the same way as you, man. I felt the same way. I just felt like it just became. It's like, okay, I got to see it because I want to see the story. I want to know where they're going, and I know that they're going somewhere with it. And eventually, they're going to do this big, team up movie, or whatever, which led to Endgame. But I really liked Infinity Gauntlet or the Infinity War. I dug that movie, but I was ticked off at Endgame. I mean, like I hated it. I hated Endgame so bad, and I'm the type of person, I'm really level-headed. Like anybody who comes to the channel, they know, like I don't get just crazy and just start hating on stuff and everything. And I remember I was with my family, and my family loved Endgame. Like my kids loved Endgame, and look, my kids are DC fans. You know what I mean? I've raised them right. And so but they really liked Endgame. And I remember just walking out of Endgame just like ticked. I didn't like the things that they did with like time travel. And it's like, we can make our own rules about stuff and to make it fit our narrative. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't work in any other universe that has ever dealt with time travel. But all right, have fun with that. And
they make a point to shit on the other films like Back to the Future, and in the film, I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
Yeah. And like nobody else seemed to catch on to that. Like I didn't feel like anybody. It was like, yeah, we're just going to accept this, and so I came out of it, and I literally the next day, because we saw it on a Thursday night. The night it came out, because you got to go see it. The night it come out, and so we everybody wanted to do their review. Because we used to do that, because we do that as a family. Remember when movies came out? Remember when there were movies? And we could go see them, and we could review them when they came out. And so, but we got home, and I didn't even want to review the movie because I felt like I was going to be too critical of the movie right off the bat, because I was so angry at it. And so literally the next afternoon, I took the afternoon off, and I went back to the movies myself alone and rewatched it. And when I watched it the second time, like there were a couple of things that I saw, I was like, okay, maybe I was a little too critical of this or that. But then there were some other things that I just went, no, this kind of solidifies it. This movie is not as perfect as everybody is saying it is. It's cool visually, and it's cool to see like every superhero come in at the end. And that's kind of cool. But where's the real heart of the movie? And so that's where I had a problem with it. But it that bubble popped, and now it seems like Marvel is having to start again and try to rebuild that.
They've still got Spider-Man. They've still got Tom Holland. They're still waiting for that third film there.
Yes,
they've got Eternals. They've got, I don't know, Captain Marvel 2, whatever. Where's Blade? Where's Mahershala Ali and Blade? Where was that gone? It's gone all quiet there.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the stuff has just gone quiet that they've talked about, and we know it's coming, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. So obviously you're a DC fan. What is it about DC that just did it for you? Like, what are your first memories of DC? Like that you knew that these were the characters that you resonated with and you loved.
Well, my first memories of comic books, like I'll say all the time, I'm not like a hardcore comic book reader, but I remember reading Spider-Man, right? I know that's Marvel, but I got into Spider-Man first, and I've got Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, signed by Eric Larson. He came to Comic-Con here in was it 2014, and so I was like, oh, I got to meet him. I was like, oh yeah, I loved your Spider-Man, it's awesome. And so I remember that. So it was the complete Spider-Man, which gathered the 4 weekly stories, right? And well, not 4 monthly stories in one package.
Yeah.
And I remember reading it, and it's that he had artwork from Eric Larson and he had artwork from Todd McFarlane, and it's really cool, right? And you just get into Spider-Man that way. I feel he's got the best supporting cast as well as the best villains in the Marvel universe.
Absolutely.
And but then he's more relatable as well when it comes to his character, Peter Parker. And but after that, I think around about the same time, I was also reading Batman comics. Because my brother used to get them, right? My older brother used to get all the comics, right? And so we used to read them together. And man, Batman comics were like dark, like Death in the Family, and Batman Venom, the one where he gets hooked on drugs and stuff. Killing Joke, obviously. So all that kind of stuff. Nightfall. So that's kind of got me more into DC. Reading the Batman comics. Everyone remembers Death of Superman. That was like so. It was on the news, right? Everyone's talking about it. And then it was like a year-long storyline with the different Supermen, and then the Return of Superman.
Yeah.
So I would say that's where. So then I started college, and then my brother had moved out as well. So I kind of got lost with. I didn't get into comics that much from there on. So I didn't even know what Justice League was until the mid-2000s. Right, so I'm I've been catching up ever since with Justice League and Suicide Squad, things like that, because of the movies, right?
Yeah.
So I just feel that when I saw Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, and I was like, okay, this is the Superman that I want to see. It's kind of set in the real world today, and it's kind of his character. It's Clark Kent and Kal-El. Is kind of his journey that he's on. Is kind of the themes are kind of relatable. So that's why, to me, I got really invested in the DCEU. I could see where they were going, and the way the media kind of attacked it, and the journalists, and the Twitter and all the Rotten Tomatoes.
No, come on, man. They were totally fair with it. They totally looked at it in a fair way and didn't judge it by anything else. We all know that.
Yeah. So that's when Film GOB was born. That's when I started my channel, and I remember that the hype for Batman v Superman was unbearable, man. That was like, and then the reviews came out. You remember the week the reviews came out?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh yeah.
So I did. Tons of you could see the critics just piling on the hate.
Yeah, and it was weird. Like, it felt really weird to me when I saw that, because both of those movies, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, I came out of like so pumped, so excited for what I had just seen. And when everything was when all the critics were the exact opposite, and they were finding stuff and saying stuff about the movies that didn't make any sense to me, that like they hated it and why they hated it. And like you said, then, that's when I really learned that I really don't care what Rotten Tomatoes thinks of anything, pretty much. We just had a joke last night. So we're trying to get back to what we do here at the channel, as opposed to all the stuff that's been going on. And so since there's not a lot of movie trailers and stuff like that, like I want to bring my family back into the channel, because I feel like it's just been me here, like yelling and screaming and arguing and doing stuff like that for a while. And that's not me. And so last night we decided to sit down and do a reaction to our first reaction to Justice League, right when we got home after watching Justice League. And so we laughed so hard. So we filmed that thing. And so you guys watching, you can be looking forward to that video, because that video is coming. I just got to edit it. But it was so funny because we just started laughing at just like how excited we were and stuff, even back then, because that's what we thought was the movie. That was what we thought we were getting. And we were just so excited just to see these characters on screen together. But it's funny because they were teasing me because I was going off about the Rotten Tomatoes score, and my wife, when we gave it each person went around and we'd give it our own score. And spoiler alert, I mean, the video's up on the channel. It's been up on the channel for 3-4 years, whatever. But when we go around, like my family all gave it like ridiculous scores, right? Like we were trying to do it like 1 through 10, and my son's like 1,000. And then I got another kid who's like 16. Like, just like, that's weird. And then like, a couple of 10s. And then it came to me, and I said, I give it a 9. I said, it's got some CGI issues in there, and some things like that. And my wife looks at me, and Tiffany just looks at me, and she gives me a hard time, and she calls me Rotten Tomatoes, and she's like, that's your new nickname, Rotten Tomatoes. This movie's perfect, and stuff. And but yeah, I got so sick of hearing everybody just trash on, it seemed like, everything that I liked. And it's like, I didn't understand how I could be so excited for something and love it so much, and love the portrayal of these characters and how they were written and how they were done, especially with Zack Snyder's vision for them and where he was taking them. And then there was just so many people, it seemed like, who hated him. And I couldn't tell whether it was real hatred or if it was because it was programmed hatred, because it wasn't Marvel. It was just different, and I think people felt like somewhat like they had to choose a side.
Yeah, I mean, when Disney, if Disney is putting money behind Marvel Studios, and they've got their franchise, they want to be the only show in town, right? So you've got these Disney-owned media. Obviously, they're going to attack the competition. Obviously, they're going to give these films poor reviews and spread as much. There was an account on Twitter that was like just bots. It was like, can't remember the tweet about. It was about Batman v Superman. During the week's release, it was just like bots. It's kind of just mocking the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone's paying that, someone's spending money on this. And just recently I heard about, you can pay some Eastern European, company to spread, I think you pay them like $10,000, and they basically go on the internet and social media and just spread, bots and whatever. But it could be anything about your political rival, could be rival movie studio, it could be anything. So that kind of stuff is out there. But so I wouldn't be surprised if someone did that for Batman. But when you heard about Zack Snyder stepping down from Justice League, was that not just the worst feeling you ever had?
Oh my gosh!
In your time as the DCU fan.
So, I've got a video, and I actually, William, hey, thanks for the $5 super chat there. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But to answer your question, Film Gob, so I'll be honest with you. Like, I try to like give the benefit of the doubt, and I tell people sometimes, it's like, I'm the type of guy that I'll go the last mile with somebody. Like, I'll take the hit, even if it means that, like, I'm wrong or whatever, because I want to give people an opportunity. I don't want to be too judgmental. And so I actually just talk about going back and like watching old videos now. And it's like, now we got this catalog of, all these videos and stuff. I rewatched, I came upon my video that I did about when they announced that Joss Whedon was taking over. And I was I came at it from the idea, and I think we all kind of looked at it from the idea of like with what happened to Zach and his family, that it was presented to us, and after watching my video and about how I reported it, it was presented as this was a positive thing, that this was a thing that Zach was behind, full on, that he supported this, that, that Joss was his friend, even, and that this was what he wanted. He wanted to pass this movie off to Joss and have Joss finish his vision, for this film. And that basically Joss was just going to kind of tweak up a couple things, maybe, finish writing a couple little scenes here and there and finish the movie. And that's not what happened at all. That's the exact opposite of what happened. He comes in, writes 80 pages of script and is like forcing people to do scenes that they don't want to do. And Lord only knows what else now with, Ray Fisher coming out and talking about, stuff that was going on. And so I look back at it now and I look back that I had all this hopeful optimism that, hey, it's Joss Whedon, right? Like he's done some really cool stuff and he gets kind of the nerd culture and he's got that nerd cred because he had done so much. And it's just not what it turned out to be. It's just, it's just some of the choices and they would like you said, when you find out that so much was replaced and just done away with, and that whole thing, and they basically the studio used it as an opportunity to get rid of Zach and put their own ideas and their own thoughts into a movie that was supposed to be a sequel, supposed to round out the DCEU at the time. It's just it's sad, but yeah, like I look back on it now and I think I'm definitely more upset about it now than I was then, because I wanted to give it a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've got a video, like when did that news happened? I don't know if I've got a video about that, but the days, weeks, month after that announcement, I was being as positive as possible. Like, yeah, I mean, if Warner Brothers are saying this was Zach's decision to bring in Joss Whedon, it must be true. I don't know, but so I was being as confident as possible, positive. And I remember some of my followers were already saying, no, this is BS.
Yeah.
Don't believe it. And even well before the film had came out, some of my followers are saying it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then as soon as I saw the film, yeah, okay, let's, and then I remember seeing Fiona, her tweets, and she was like, yeah, we need there is a Snyder cut. We need to fight for it. I was like, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
Yeah. So William asked, and I think it's a good question. Do you think that the MCU's success infected the way execs thought films needed to be made?
It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, obviously when it comes to the DCEU, you kind of hear about what Jeff Johns got up to and, his influence, and since he's friends with Kevin Feige and their love for the Richard Donner Superman. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, so I can understand. Yeah, it's possible that when he got involved and he's talking to Toby Emmerich and all these other people at Warner Brothers. Yeah, we need that, but we need that MCU approach. Let's go back to the hope and optimism. Let's accelerate it.
Yeah.
So I would agree with William that MCU success made these other studios like, well, maybe we need our MCU. Maybe we need a little. We need to make these superhero films. What superhero properties do we have? Let's look at it.
Yeah.
So but it's just you need to look at the property and what is the best approach for that property. Not let's make it like something else. And even Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew what Guardians of the Galaxy is, but the Marvel Studios was like, yeah, let's take this and throw in as many jokes as we can and retro music and just push it out there. Nobody will criticize it because nobody knows what it is. Nobody knows what Guardians of the Galaxy is, apart from the hardcore comic book fans. But no, we don't care about them. We're going to push it out and get that money. So
yeah.
MCU can get away with it.
Yeah, well, and that's things like so I'll be honest with you. I ended up liking Guardians of the Galaxy, but I remember when I first saw the trailer, based on the criticisms that I was seeing for DC and other things. When I first saw it, I was just like, I looked at my wife and I said, Tiff, I said, I think that this is going to be the first like MCU bomb. Like the fans aren't going to accept a raccoon and a tree. And I had no idea what Guardians of the Galaxy was either. I was not. I wasn't a Guardians of the Galaxy guy. I didn't read those books, so I had no concept of what those things were. And so, yeah, going in, it's like all of a sudden it was all these funny things and flashy stuff. And I mean, Chris is just a funny guy, and so I enjoyed it and it was funny. And I think another thing is like, I'm not a fan of Vin Diesel at all. So the fact that they relegated him to one word, like, was kind of funny for me. And so I enjoyed it. The second one, not so much. There were good parts to it, but I didn't feel the same connection that I did to the first one. And now after Endgame, Lord only knows what the team's going to look like, going forward, so but I know what you mean. It's like people kind of lost any, critical thinking for the movies. It's like on standby. And I don't want to just harp on the MCU, because I know that we got some MCU fans in the chat and stuff. And look, everybody
love me then.
yeah. I mean, everybody can love, like what they love, and that's fine. But I think that goes back to the point that like every property though doesn't have to be the same. I mean, like if you have the MCU, which is for a certain type of fan who likes a certain type of movie or a certain type of character, even, it's okay to have the DCEU that's darker and more gritty and more real in tone. And like Zack Snyder crafted it, the DCEU doesn't have to be like Marvel. It would get boring if everything was just the same. And I think that's kind of what happened a little bit with the original Justice League. Is they tried to make it too jokey. They tried to make it too much like that Marvel movie, but that world hadn't earned it. Like you couldn't just take one movie and just, toss the dice and throw in a bunch of jokes and you're going to make that world all of a sudden more bright. And it just didn't work. There are parts that worked, but just as a movie, I don't think so, but.
And now you're seeing a lot of, whether it's films or TV shows that are kind of going a bit more darker superheroes, like The Boys or Brightburn, which was kind of
my gosh, I love Brightburn.
I've not seen Brightburn, but
oh my gosh, Brightburn. I'll tell you what, Film Gob, when I saw Brightburn right there is basically, to me, the answer to anyone who says they hated Batman v Superman. Anybody who gave Bruce Wayne a hard time when he's like, if there's a 1% chance that this guy, can go against us, we got to take him down. And like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you do that? Watch Brightburn. If you haven't watched Brightburn, you find out real quick what can happen, because you got a character like Superman that has these powers. And it's like, when nobody else has the means or the ability to take them down, that's when you realize that's why Batman had he felt the need that if anybody was going to do it, it was going to have to be him, because he's the only one who had the ability to think forward like that and think about these aliens and who Superman was and who his people were and all those things. I mean, Brightburn is such a fantastic movie, man. I tell you, you got to treat yourself. You got to see that movie, Film Gob, for sure, man.
I'm just not a fan of James Gunn. I know he's not directed it, but he's kind of produced it. And like,
yeah,
I'm just not a fan of James Gunn. I think his movies are just like try hard and not, it's just that kind of tone of his films I'm not into.
Yeah, like, see, and I didn't get the James Gunn feeling from, from that. Like, it's definitely, it doesn't feel anything like his MCU stuff. You know, I mean, like anything like that, you know. So it's definitely its own thing, and it's very dark, very dark. So it's, you know, but it's very real world. You know, like this is kind of what would happen to this kid. He develops this, you know. But so that being said, you know, because moving forward in the future, we've got James Gunn doing the new Suicide Squad movie. You know, like what are your thoughts on that?
I'll wait for the first trailer and see, you know, because my mind's just on, you know, getting the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad on HBO Max. That's, you know, that's more important to me than whatever they're doing with the sequel or a reimagining or whatever they're calling it. You know, I remember they were like, well, it's not a sequel, it's a standalone, and it's called The Suicide Squad, and their message is so mixed up, and it's so annoying for the fans. It's like, just give us a bloody answer, straight answer, tell us what's going on. But you know, I'd like to see more Harley Quinn. I want to see more. Whatever other characters they have, is it going to be? The idea of Suicide Squad is really cool, and but I just want to see that David Ayer cut and see what was there, you know, because that first trailer that came out on Comic-Con was perfect.
Yeah, really good stuff.
I mean, the best kind of news we've had this year was, you know, with the Zack Snyder's Justice League announcement, and that week where it was just like so happy. We're just going on each other's live streams. I'm on Fatal J's and going on to everyone's live streams, and everyone's coming on my show and stuff. It's like the best feeling that week.
Oh yeah. Oh, man, me too. I was so excited. I lost my mind, like to finally know that this is coming, that it was real, you know, because we'd heard so many times like about it, you know, about it as a possibility, you know, and I know the year before a lot of people were really touting that it was going to be announced at Comic-Con, that you know the Snyder Cut was coming, and they were doing billboards and all these, you know, banners and stuff that were outside of Comic-Con, and then nothing. And so where are we going with this? What are we doing? And then I mean, then just all these kind of rumors that were floating around. Zach's gonna announce it, and then it kind of felt like maybe, you know, when you were watching the Man of Steel thing, you know, and I watched that and I found that fascinating. And then when Henry Cavill came in, it's like ooh, this looks like something. And then it was like we do the whole fan thing, and then the one lady at the end. It was funny because when the lady asked at the end of that stream, you know, like, I'm just going to say it, you know, like, are we getting the Snyder Cut? I almost felt like very, I almost wanted to say, no, don't ask, because you're going to ruin it. Like, you know, like if we don't get it and but then when they pulled the little shenanigan that they did and, you know, released and said it was coming. Yeah, man, I was so excited. I did a quick video. I grabbed my phone and I was just like, hey, I was live and I was like, guys, we're getting it. It's here.
I had a little video sitting in my editor for like a year, waiting for this moment.
Really?
I had, like, different clips and everything that's been happening over the past year. So I would keep updating it, and it would be my little celebration video, and I would publish it on the day. So I was, you know, so as soon as I finished my live stream, you know, I was reacting to the watch party, and as soon as that finished, I was like, publish, and it was just,
that's awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, you have a way about you about like pushing people's buttons, right? You've kind of developed that, and we talked a little bit about that. And so without getting too much into it, obviously I found myself in a little situation where apparently I pushed some buttons this last week and a half or so.
You've been busy.
I have, man. I tell you what, I've been on a lot of streams, talked to a lot of people, been in a lot of private conversations, even behind the scenes, just about stuff that's going on, you know, and just talking about what's really important to us, you know, and also, some of it, guys, like, because everybody wants a fight, right? Everybody likes the fight. Everybody wants to watch the fight and see, people go back and forth and everything. And it's like, at some point you got to say, well, what's the point of this fight? What are we really going to accomplish? Where are we going forward? Right. So, but now I think some of this fight that people are perceiving, there's stuff going on behind the scenes now, that I think that people need to be patient on, because some of these channels that are coming against all of this, all of us who are just happy to have the Snyder cut, just happy to be DC fans, they're making mistakes. They're doing things that they're trying to like nail us down and just declare victory. But guys, when people do stuff emotional, and I've always noticed this, when people just rattle off stuff and do stuff emotional, they make mistakes, they mess up. And I know that certain people had things to say, because when I released my statement about what's going on, I prepared my statement. I tried to be very, to the point, say what I had to say, be done, just kind of drop that and be done. I did my Larry Bird thing. It's like, if I'll be the Larry Bird of the DCEU, like, I guess, like, I'll be that MVP, I guess, and do that. I still don't get that reference. I don't understand why that's such a negative thing. I don't get that, but I guess I'm Larry Bird. That's what they're calling me now. So I'll take it. It is what it is. But the thing is, there's a definite difference between the way I handle myself and the way other people handle themselves, And so when you start getting crazy emotional and you start getting bent out of shape and everything, you start making mistakes. So I would just tell everybody, just relax, just know that we're working on stuff, but everything's not out in front, but I agree with you, man. When we talked about, like, reject the hate, just you gotta sometimes get to the point where it's like, this is, because I'll be honest with you, man, this week has been just tiring, exhausting, trying to keep up with everything.
I get, I've been involved with, like I said, Collider, Christian Harloff. I got into stuff with them, got into the corner, being involved with them. It's kind of, it's a really nasty kind of feeling, like you get involved in, and you're like, oh, what are people saying now? What are they talking about me? What do my fans think? I hope that I didn't let them down. Things like that,
Yeah.
But yeah, what's kind of really good, what's really funny is that just like maybe a couple of weeks before the Snyder Cut announcement, it was, they were so determined. They were like, yes, it's not coming out. That's what we heard. You Snyder Cut fans, you're all stupid. And so certain people, they jumped on the bandwagon at the worst time possible, right? And then they got humiliated when that announcement came out. And now they're just kind of flailing their arms. They're like, yeah, Ezra Miller, what's going to happen to him? Oh, Ray Fisher. So, we won. That's it. Yeah. It's coming out next year. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. That's the thing, right? This has been an uphill battle. This has been a battle sometimes that I think sometimes people question whether or not we could win, whether or not this thing, I think even the people who were diehard, that, oh yeah, it's coming. I think even them, there's always going to be those moments of doubt. It's like, is this thing real? Is it really something? And to know now that it's coming, and there's none of the yelling, the screaming, the losing their minds. They're like you said, they're flailing. I've been doing that lately, because one guy just reminds me of a puppet. It's like, welcome to the Muppet Show, and so, but none of that at the end of the day is going to change the fact.
Insult. That's an insult to the Muppets.
I know that. Yeah, I know. So I actually started calling him Puppet, because he's just kind of a puppet, but because that's kind of what he is anyways. But yeah, it is an insult to the Muppets, but that's just kind of the over the top, just colorful, trying to look like you have a point, but really it's just all a bunch of noise. And at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything. The Snyder cut is coming. We're gonna see it, and like you said, I think that now they got to save face. The egos are too big to just let it go. Right. You can't just let it go. And it's ironic. I think that a lot of these people keep talking about, well, just take the L, just take the L, and it's like, no, we got the win. Like that. Why would we take the L? Why would we admit some kind of defeat when we got the win? And so, it's an interesting, thing, and how I kind of came into viewing some of that stuff, because actually, your video where you kind of took them on head on, that was one of the first things that really got my attention about them and about this situation was, I really felt that you handled yourself in a professional way. Like you went on, you tried to have a conversation, you tried to do, and nobody wanted to have a conversation. People just wanted to yell at you. I mean, I can't imagine how you felt. Like I watched the replay, man, and I wanted to jump in and defend you, man. Give them a beat down.
It was a bad move on my side, because I went on their live stream about, what was it, midnight, and I was ready to go to bed, but then I saw what they were saying about me on Twitter. I was like, I'm not taking this, so I went on there. Then I'm confronted by 3 of them. I was like, okay, fine, I'll go on. And then another guy comes in, and then they just kind of shout at me. But I try, at the end of the stream, I was like, well, I dished it out to Jody over the past few years. I did 2-3 videos about the guy, and I must have gotten under the skin, So I was like, okay, fine. He managed to get one up on me. He gave me some abuse on his live stream.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, fine, maybe we can just kind of move on. But then they started their crap again with reject the Snyder cult T-shirts, and
yes,
it's been going on, and I think it's just time to kind of block the hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I never block people on Twitter or anywhere else, and I was like, you know what, maybe it's time. I've been on Twitter for 4 or 5 years. 5 years. Don't usually block people, but I think everyone needs to kind of, and it's not about blocking anyone who disagrees with you. It's mainly YouTubers, journalists, websites who they're targeting us because they know they think they can get clicks from us and views from us and comments and all that. Just block. Just that's who we want. That's who we want to block.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't block anybody either. I've never really had to block anybody. I try to welcome all opinions, but I know that it's a serious thing when the guy who's known for, kind of poking at people a little bit says, you know what, hey, let's stop, because it gets tiring. You just end up in this back and forth, and there's no real end to it. Like we're going to say something, we're going to yell and scream. They're going to yell and scream. We're going to say our point. They're going to say their point. And you're not really winning anybody over. You're not really moving anything forward, right? Because you're not really having a dialogue. You're just having a tennis match of comments back and forth. And
I mean, it's like one thing to wind up other people, right? Okay, and I do it all the time. I try to wind up the MCU fans as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never thought of, okay, I'm going to do this. I know what the reaction is going to be. I'm going to make a video about their reaction. I'm going to get money on a live stream. Okay, I don't think that's not the way I think, and there are certain channels out there that are doing that, and I think it's kind of pathetic, it's disgusting, but
Yeah.
yeah, the best I feel like my time on YouTube is when I'm just kind of talking with other YouTubers on live streams and hanging out with my subscribers. That's the best feeling, you know. When it comes to like edits and kind of funny edits, it's so time consuming, and I prefer the kind of casual hangout with subscribers and just jumping on everyone else's kind of live streams. That's what I prefer. And what's Zyberfet talking about? That I've got a camera. Yes, I've got a camera. It's right here.
I threw that up there because I was like, yeah, he's got a camera. It's right there. That's funny. Yeah, but I totally agree with you, man. Because like I know that, you know, yeah, you make some videos, you edit them, you put them together. In fact, I put a little video together of something, and somebody compared it to one of your videos, you know, to kind of just, you know, pulling together some information and putting it out there and kind of catching people with people don't like it when you actually use their own words against them. You know, when you highlight, and that's what you do. And I think you do that very, very well. You have a way about you that you're highlighting, like you said, you're not taking things out of context. You're actually taking and putting things in the context that these people say them. They just don't like the fact that you're spotlighting it, that you're shining a light on it and saying, look, this is what you are. This is who you are. But instead of looking at it, I think, and them taking a look at themselves and saying, well, what am I doing here? Like you said, they had this other mentality. They're trying to save face. You know, they feel like they've got this brand. I always think that's funny. Like, you know, I heard a lot about that this week. Like, oh, this is hurting my brand, you know? And I was like, your brand, it's like, we've got a channel here. I get that, you know, we got some friends, we got some people that we talk to on a regular basis, but like this idea of this is my brand. And I get it. Some people are trying to do trying to do YouTube as a living, you know, that this is what they do and this is how they make money. And I don't ever, I don't begrudge anybody making anything, you know. Make what you can, man. If you have the means to, and the fan base that you can make money, as long as you're not exploiting people, you know, as long as you're not trading a false narrative and these ridiculous things to try to convince people to give you, you know, their money and do that, because it just seems disingenuous. You know, like anytime somebody gives something here on our channel, it feels so humbling to me, you know. And it's like, I'm not gonna, you know, we kind of make fun of it sometimes, you know, we do funny things and stuff just because, you know, we're showing our appreciation. But it's like this other thing of like, oh yeah, you gave to me because I'm so great, and you know, and you love me so much. It's like, no, like I can't even imagine doing that, because I feel humbled that somebody gives anything. You know what I mean? Like somebody gives $1 in a super chat or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, you know, that's awesome. Just because it just tells me that somebody actually that somebody believes in what I'm doing, and like they just take it to that next level. You know, whether it's a Patreon supporter, whether it's anything, but I don't expect anybody to do that. You know, and I think that's the difference, is like expecting people to do that and then trying to go further and manipulate people to do that.
You know, the thing that I find again is really bizarre is that when the previous videos that I did about that other channel, their supporters come over in the video, and there's like, why are you messing with his money? You're stopping him from making his money. I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, I was just kind of pointing out the inconsistencies and, you know, and the flat out lies that YouTuber spouts out on his channel. So Yeah, but even as supporters are like, yeah, you're messing with his coin, messing with him, bruh.
Come on, bruh. That's funny.
Oh, L.
Take the L, man. Come on, Gob, you got to take the L, man. I tell you what, man, you got to take the L. You got to stop all this, all this, fronting and everything. You guys got to take the L. Just do it, man. Just admit defeat. Go on their stream. Bow down to that, admit that you made a mistake, and that you're just going to go quietly into the night and never speak of them again, never talk about them again. There's a fine line, isn't there? I mean, like, how do you know what that line is, right? Because like I've been trying to figure out that line myself, right? Going forward, because like you said, like you when you go through something like this, like you've gone through with various other YouTubers, and like that I've just now experienced really for the first time, and it shoves you into this kind of, I'm trying to figure the right word, but it shoves you kind of into this limelight, right? Of like, hey, here you are, people are finding the channel now that have never been here before. People all of a sudden are, I got like 500 more Twitter followers than I had, 4 days ago, and that's cool because they're very much, there's, like I said, there's a lot more support than there is hate. So I'm very thankful for that. But like, what's that line? Because I'm at the point where it's like, I do want to block out the hate, right? I want to block out the haters. I want to not succumb to that level. And we just actually, because we do have a Patreon here at the channel, and we've got a handful of people who give to the Patreon. And so we did a private stream just for them. Right. And in doing that, somebody mentioned, they said, hey, look, man, I love you and I support you, and I'm not leaving. He said, I'm not going anywhere. He says, but I do want to, he was just basically wanted to be a bug in my ear to just say, hey, we love your content. We love what you were doing before. We understand why you're taking this on. We understand why you're doing this, because it's a cause that, needed to be addressed. But we really hope that it doesn't take over your channel, and like that this becomes the focus now. And I honestly had to, and see, this is the difference, I guess, between me and maybe you and people on the corner and in different places, because when somebody tells me that, and then I look at, say, the last 4 videos I put out, right, and it's got somebody else's name in those videos where I'm talking about that, and I'm not talking about the things that I love. I feel like maybe I'm fighting for the things that I love, but I'm talking about a person, and I'm going around and around with that person. So like with what you do and everything, like maybe you can give me some advice of like, how do you know that line of when to answer, when not, when to poke, right? When to kind of poke a little bit and get a little right. I mean, like here today, even like, we're blocking it out, yet you got to admit that it's there, right? Like, it's impossible to just, act like, well, it's never going to come up again. But how do you know that line?
It's weird. Every year, at the start of every year, I'm like, okay, this year I'm not going to do any videos about anyone else. But then I get sucked into it. It's just like, it's really annoying. And videos you can do a video and you think, oh, this is really great, and I think subscribers are going to love it, and it just bombs and it doesn't go anywhere. I'll give you an example. It's like, when it comes to like something you said about you getting all these new subscribers, or you're getting this attention, you're in the spotlight, and luckily the people are supporting you, right? They kind of understand what your content is, and they're coming to your channel. I did a video where this was when Trump got inaugurated, right? Mm-hmm. And his speech was very similar to what Bane does in The Dark Knight Rises. And I put compared it side by side. Yeah. And that video took off like it's like it took me 15 minutes to do and upload it, and it just went nuts. And it got almost like a 1 million 1 million views. But you looked at the comments, it was like half and half. Some people thought I was hating on him, some people thought I was loving him. And it was just a mess. I'm taking this video down. And you never know how a video is going to work, how it's going to go. You don't know what attention it's going to bring. Like another video is my most popular video is the Mark Hamill hates The Last Jedi, which is part of it is true and part of it is just me making funny edits and kind of putting it together, and that's got like over 5 million views. And it's like, you know, some people get the joke, some people are like, yeah, Mark Hamill, he's on our side. He hate Disney Star Wars. And it's like, you know, it's hard to kind of predict who's going to come to your channel and if they even care about the rest of your content, you know.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, especially if you have a channel where like you do a variety of stuff, you know, and you have a variety of things, and so, you know, all I can do is be myself. That's all any of us can do, is just be ourselves and be true to ourselves. And, you know, it's like if stuff comes up that we feel is important enough that we have something to say it. It's just that fine line of not just saying something just to say something, you know, answering something just because we feel like, well, they called me out. So you don't always have to answer everybody who calls you out. You know, sometimes it's best sometimes it makes a bigger impact to just be quiet. I mean, look at Ray Fisher right now, right? I mean, like Ray Fisher, he basically comes out every once in a while, drops something, just kind of puts it out there. And then like with this whole thing, you know, that I'm involved in, even that, you know, like Ray Fisher comes out, uses my video as a way to make a point. And so far, and I hope that he keeps doing it, honestly, because the other side is making all these videos, making all this noise, attacking, you know, calling him names that, you know, now they're making t-shirts, you know, apparently, and they're, you know, making all this stuff and you know, everything, just trying so hard to get some kind of response out of this guy. And he's not giving it to them. And that frustrates them so much. And you could see it in each one of their videos and each one of everything that they say and do. It's like, they just want it so bad. They just want that attention so bad. They want that acknowledgement, because if Ray came out and agreed to go on a stream or, you know, have a conversation about that, he automatically would lose that conversation, you know, just from the beginning, because he gave in to those demands. And I think that we have to do things on our own terms. I think you do that because you touch on stuff, and for the most part, you just do your stuff. I love how you end like a lot of the videos. It's like you'll drop a point right there at the end, and then you got that little, you know, drop where it's like perfect. You know, that's just great. I mean, that's even what I, you know, like I did, like with the stupid Larry Bird thing, you know, it's like I still don't get that. That just like, it just like so over my head, this Larry Bird thing. But I was like, okay. And so that's why I just like read Larry Bird's, you know, stats. And then I here, I love this, this clip here, because I found the clip, and I was so happy that I was able to find it and play it. I'll play it real quick.
Over the Grand Canyon, off your face, through the window, off the floor, nothing but net.
It's just like, that's how I felt. It's like, okay, swish, done. You know, like what else am I going to say after that? Like I read a statement and it's done. And that's the thing. Sometimes I love what you do, because even if I haven't always agreed with your take on something, I like the fact that you do things in a comical way. You do things in a way, I think, that if people really get bent out of shape of what you do, Film God, like, I think they got to take a kind of a look back at themselves, you know, and ask like, well, why is somebody making this kind of video about me? You know, like why are they spotlighting me?
I mean, I try not, like I say, every year I'm thinking, oh, I'm not going to do any videos about anyone this year, but I'm already thinking about someone. There's a couple of people that I was like cool with, you know, I was like all right with them, other YouTubers, and then they just kind of stabbed me in the back. I was like, I'm going to get you, I've got an idea. I'm going to do the video at the right time and going to piss you off.
Yeah.
But, you know, but I try to get away from that kind of stuff. I just like to do kind of cover news, you know, there's no movies to review right now. So I was like, maybe I should go back and do kind of retro reviews, you know. That was something. I did for Justice Con. I did you know, my favorite scene from the DCEU, directed by Zack Snyder. That I think every host was asked to talk about it, and I did a video, or Shorty did a video in his own way, and it was, you know, it's quite funny, and I thought I might do that kind of style of you know, commentary on other films, maybe not, because I know I've kind of, YouTube kind of pushes you into that comic book movie news and comic book movies, and I'm trying to, like, I didn't start my channel that way. I was doing all sorts of films, you know, but I want to kind of go back to that, but do it in a kind of comical way, funny way. That's what it's just to be entertaining, you know.
Yeah. Well, I know we've been talking for a while, but kind of in wrapping it up, like, what do you, you know, being the fact that you're excited for where things are going, you know, like what are your hopes for the future? I know I've seen kind of some videos of, like, you chatting a little bit about, you know, like the future of this DCEU, the future of where this goes from here, you know, and there's a lot of speculation right now, but what do you see?
I saw the speculation about, you know, the animation side of the DCEU. What should there be a you know, animated films or shorts that kind of build up the Snyderverse? The one thing is DCEU is just unpredictable. You know, it's kind of messy, and it's like, oh, now we're going into the multiverse, and what's canon and what's not canon. It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yep.
So I want to see Zack Snyder's Justice League. I want to see David Ayer's Suicide Squad. You know, everyone's kind of picking, oh, this is the Snyderverse, and this is what I prefer. Or the Shazam and Aquaman, that's the going in a different direction, and people prefer that. So you know, the arguments are going to continue. The division among fans, I think, it's not going to get better. But I don't know. I want to judge each film on its own, and because my thing with the MCU was they all felt the same, and I didn't feel they were, like, the directors weren't able to add any of their influence on the film.
Gotcha.
I said, if the DCEU becomes like that, I'm out of the DCEU. I don't care. Done. But I see that what they're doing is quite different. It is, you do get the family-friendly stuff. You do get the R-rated stuff. You get films like Joker. You are getting the Snyderverse. So there's enough variety to keep things interesting. So that's the only way. I think if they continue that, you know, that's better than what I got with MCU. So
yeah.
That's
would you support if for example, you know, maybe because it was cheaper, less expensive, whatever, would you support an animated continuation?
I wouldn't mind, like, spin-offs, you know, like what was Martian Manhunter doing in all this time over the past few years, from Man of Steel
right?
to BBS? Yeah. No problem with that. Or what was happening in Atlantis during the Justice League? No, not Atlantis. What you know, any part of the DCEU, what was happening there at this specific time in an animated form, short film.
Mhm.
Cool, I'm okay with that. When it comes to Zack Snyder, a continuation of his films, no, I would prefer live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a place for animation, I'm sure, but I would prefer Zack Snyder to. But then again, Zack Snyder, maybe he wants to do other films. Maybe he doesn't want to be part of doesn't want to continue with Justice League Parts 2 and 3. Who knows? Maybe he
Yeah.
wants to hand it over to someone else.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point because, you know, obviously he's a few years removed now from this film. And that's a good question, you know, like what does Zach want to do? You know, because obviously this is a passion thing for him to finish this movie, right? But when it comes to what comes next, you know, that's a good question. Does Zach really want to continue and like thrust his life into basically becoming the DC guy? Because if you're talking about this, I mean, you're talking about years that he would have to dedicate to realizing some of these films, you know, and I think we as fans, we do have to remember that as much as we're excited about the Snyder cut coming out, if they do continue, you know, you may see more of a producer role for Zach, and letting others kind of come in and have their way with some of the characters. I mean, like everybody wants a Man of Steel 2. I want a Man of Steel 2. I want to see Henry Cavill get a proper sequel and see what they can do with that. And I'd love for Zack Snyder to do that. But at the same time, I want, I just want a good movie. And I think that when you have different directors doing different things, it can be a really good thing because, like you said, they get to put their own, you know, vision to it and their own spin on it and craft it the way that they would. And if you just have the same person doing it over and over and over again, it's going to get old. Anything is going to get old after a while, you know. And so you need that creativity to flow. And so I could see him pull it back a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, like, say, remember when the Hobbit trilogy was about to start, and it was Guillermo del Toro that was going to work on it, and we were like, "Oh, what? This is going to be amazing!" And then he had to drop out. It's like, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. I would say the fans, the DC fans, or the Snyder fans, you know, I don't think they'd be too disappointed if Zack decided, okay, here's Justice League Parts 2 and 3, whatever, and it's going to be directed by someone like Guillermo del Toro, someone like maybe James Wan, someone like Denis Villeneuve. I don't know. So if you get a big name and they you know come in and they you know the quality of their work and the fans are happy with their their kind of filmography, then you know that could be it would kind of soften the blow that Zach's not doing it, you know. So but it would be passed on to someone who's just as, you know, like a perfectionist or someone who gets involved, someone who gets their hands dirty with that kind of content. And we all know Guillermo del Toro. He was working on a Justice League Dark, and he's always said he's a DC guy. So you know, I wouldn't mind seeing that, but yeah, going back. One thing at a time, you know, the one thing at a time we're going to get is the Justice League. We'll see how that does. I'm sure it's going to be successful. I'm sure it's going to do great numbers for HBO Max. So I think that's. I'm not thinking too far ahead just now.
Yeah, no, and I think that's good. It's like I think we need to get one thing at a time. You know, everybody wants everything announced right now. You know, and we wanted every property, everything. You know, because I want the air cut as well. I want to see what Suicide Squad was originally supposed to be. But I get, you know, that if they're going to make it, why they would hold off. You know, we just got announced that we're getting the Snyder cut. Let's take one thing at a time. I love how AT&T responded to that. Said, well, hey, one thing at a time. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's just, you know, how did you feel about Birds of Prey?
It was. It had good parts. It had like more Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I can watch her all day.
Yes.
She's amazing. The rest of the cast, I wasn't kind of too into. Ewan McGregor, I don't mind his films, but I think it was kind of miscast as Black Mask. He wasn't. To me, he could have been a bit more of a darker character, more of a serious character, and he played, Victor Zaz, he was all right. He was quite good. But I don't know. It was a very uneven. I felt that I definitely had no intention of going back to seeing it again. I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5 or something, but it was entertaining enough, but it felt like a typical comic book movie, but with R-rated elements in it, trying to be Tarantino, trying to be something similar.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know. Maybe Kathy Ann does have her own cut of the. I never know. Release the Yan cut.
Right. I'll be honest with you. So I liked it. And I watched, and we bought it because I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy everything. But when we bought it, I remember I popped it in and we watched it, and I really liked it like more the second time. But I know what you're saying, because it's not like a movie that I'm going to go back to a lot. Like I've watched it a couple times now, and now it's kind of sitting there. And there's just movies like that it's like you like them, but you don't love them, and it's not something that like Back to the Future. If Back to the Future's on, I'm going to watch Back to the Future. Right. It doesn't matter probably which, all three of them. If it's on TV, I'm going to watch it. It's just a thing. If I'm flipping through and The Empire Strikes Back is on, I'm probably going to stick around for a minute at least, and watch a couple, a few minutes of that. Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. Those are movies like that too, for me. Yeah. With Birds of Prey, it's kind of like I watched it. It's good and I'm good. But like you said, Margot Robbie she's born to play that role. I anytime I hear anybody complaining about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, I shake my head, and I say, guys, I don't know how you could not.
Don't underestimate like when I went to see the film, I saw this kind of young lady. She was dressed as Harley Quinn with the blue jacket and the blonde wig. With the look she has at the end of the film.
Yeah, and
she was like in the full costume. I was like, no, that's passionate Harley Quinn fan right there. So don't underestimate what kind of fans Margot Robbie's bringing in to this franchise. So even though we might not like the film, right? We might not. I see Zeverfed doesn't love it.
Yeah.
But, there will be a fan base for it, and I'm sure this Suicide Squad will have the Margot Robbie fans will turn out for that as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the next Suicide Squad movie. I remember seeing the costumes. I'm reserving judgment to wait till I see them, in post production and done, because some of that stuff will just look silly if you try to overthink it, and every negative thing that comes out is, oh, look at this, this is the nail in the coffin for DC. And
just make, whether it's Assault on Arkham or Hell to Pay, is that what it's called, Hell to Pay?
Hell to Pay, yeah.
I loved that. I thought it was awesome, especially the Get Out of Hell card, which is just genius.
Yeah.
So, and the ending was so good as well. I love that ending with Bronze Tiger, is it?
Yeah.
And Deadshot, and Amanda Waller. All that kind of stuff was awesome. So just make a live action version of that. It'll be so good.
Good stuff. Well, there's lots of great actors in it, and that's the thing, man. DC is attracting a lot of great actors. Hopefully they attract, really good directors and writers to put this stuff out there. And I think also this is just a great time to be a DC fan. It's a great time. It's just a great time to be a fan of anything, really. I mean, there's
DC fandom is going to be nuts.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what announcements they've got, but I think they're building up to something big.
Me too. I think that there's definitely some big stuff coming, and I think DC is definitely on a roll. As a DC fan, you know, I think a lot of us felt, and a lot of us have felt that pressure from people. You know, that, you know, every time you say something, you do a video, you know, about DC in a positive light, is like, DC sucks. You know, the comment section, DC sucks. And it's like, well, why do they suck? They just suck. Like, it doesn't even matter. Did you see the movie? No, I didn't see the movie. I'm not going to watch it. That junk. It's trash. And so, you know, it is what it is. Right. And you just, as a DC fan, you try to let it bounce off you, you know, and just kind of move on. But there comes a time, as we've seen lately, where fans need to stand up for fans, and fans need, you know, I said it on a stream, you know, like if fans don't stand up for themselves and fans don't stand up for the things that they love, nobody's going to do it. You know, nobody's going to stand up for this stuff. And there's enough negative voices out there that there needs to be positive voices to overcome those things. You know, and I hope if I can do anything with this all of a sudden newfound, it's funny, you know, like I show up on somebody's stream and all of a sudden the chat room is like, Enosh, you know, and it's fun, you know. I mean, like I'd be lying if I say I didn't enjoy that, and you know, that it's exciting, because all of a sudden I'm talking to people that I've never talked to. I mean, dude, I'm talking to you right now, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't know you before. And there's lots of people who are like, well, you know, I was on a stream on Friday night, and they were like, wow, how long you been online? They're like, and you've been talking about DC stuff this whole time? Like, how did I not know who you were, and like where you were and everything, you know? And that's things, like, sometimes the algorithm just doesn't take us to people who...
You were on the vodka stream, yeah?
Yeah, I was on the vodka stream, and that's what they said. You know, it's like, somebody said that this, you know, like, I you've been doing this for a while, and I never knew who you were. I never saw you, never saw your content, you know, positive about DC. And yet we've been putting out positive content about DC for, you know, a few years now. And, but that's things like I said, sometimes the algorithm just doesn't take you to the people who would enjoy your content, you know, and that's why, you know, subscribers are subscriber counts are don't really say much about the content of the people making it, because I've always looked at it, it's just, you know, we're where we are now, but when people see us, they like us, and they decide to stay. So it's all about, you know, trying to figure out how to get people to see you. And
yeah, it's like, you know, people, they subscribe to their channels, their favorite channels, and they just stick to them, right? And if they want to, like, now and again, if you have to search for a certain type of content, you have to go to page 4, page 5, page 6, because the first page is all, like, you know, bigger YouTube channels, you know, corporate kind of channels.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just want to say about, you know, fans being positive and all that. I'm the most kind of negative and pessimistic person, right, you ever come across. But when the Snyder Cut community, like, you know, over the past 3 years, is just us, just kind of being involved with them and fighting with them, fighting alongside them. I see the power of the positivity. I see the power now of positivity. It's like so good. It's like, I can't believe that everything we've achieved. Like, I'm just a YouTuber, right? If I didn't cover, you know, release the Snyder Cut over the past 3 years, and I don't know if it would have made. I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. I think there's people out there who are still, like, setting up Comic-Con events, you know, the banner over the Comic-Con, flying the banner, you know, the FA Cup billboard that was arranged. All these, the Subway, you know, we asked Subway to tweet out, release the Snyder Cut. They're like really involved. All the other sandwich makers got involved as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, just that I've seen what positivity can do, just kind of having fun and fighting what you believe in. And
Yeah. Well, look at
I'm a changed man.
that's awesome, man. Look at you. Look at you with a big smile on your face and like ready to take on the world and just be positive, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, look at just what we just saw, a week ago, right? With Justice Con. That just the ladies who put that on and the people who put that on and hear that outpaced Comic-Con at home.
Yeah.
That says a lot when you're giving people the content that they want in a positive way. And there was just I loved it because there was such a positive vibe to everything that they did. Every panel that came in, it was just a feeling of happiness. And I've watched Comic-Con, year after year. We've all watched, online, watched, all the panels and stuff like that. And it always feels like there's like the whole kind of fake joy, right? Like, hey, everybody, welcome to Comic-Con. It's fun. We're having a good time. And aren't you guys happy? Because we're showing you guys stuff you never seen before. And here's a trailer. And oh, look at this. It's all like pre-packaged joy, right? It's like here, we're going to show you this trailer and you're going to love it just because you're here and you're packed into this room. And I've talked to people who've been to Comic-Con. I mean, like it's always been a dream to go to Comic-Con out in San Diego. But now it's like I'm starting to feel like when people started talking about like the studios and everybody kind of moving away from Comic-Con, I kind of got a little upset about that at first because like no, we want Comic-Con, like it's Comic-Con. That's what Hall H. Come on, I've never even been there, and I want to I want it there, and I want it to still be there when my kids grow up and me and my wife need something to do and we're going to go to San Diego. We got this whole plan, right, that we've had for years, and it's like once the kids all become grown-ups and they're all out on their own, like her and I we're because the trip would just be way too expensive for the 5 of us to try to all go, and so it's just like we're just going to go. And I've always had that thought. Now I seem to have this other thought that it's like when I watch something like I watched with Justice Con, that's real. That's real joy. That's real happiness and real excitement for a property. And I think to myself, well, as much as it's cool to go to cons, and look, I love we've got I live in Michigan. And so we got the Motor City Comic-Con, and it's been going on for 40 years, and it's so much fun. It's awesome, and I love going there. My wife dresses up. My wife dresses up as Harley Quinn. My wife is a big Harley Quinn fan, and she does a very good job of it too, by the way. And so, which is bonus for me. But the thing is like we go to Comic-Con and we have so much fun, and we meet people, and we share experiences and things like. And I buy a ton of toys. And then we come home and it's so much fun. But then like I see what I saw at Justice Con, where it's like there were no toys to buy. I didn't meet any celebrities. I didn't walk down these aisles with a ton of other people beside me dressed up in all these ways. But yet there was something very real to it and very tangible, even though I wasn't there, even though it was a live stream. And I think that says a lot. I think that really says a lot for the future of fans, of fandoms coming together and doing their thing. And that's, Film God, that's what we've been talking about on this channel for the last 5 years. You get people come in and they're just wanting to hate on something, So if I say I like Star Wars and, and that's controversial right now because, there's people who hate Star Wars and they'll come in and they'll just blast me and they'll be like, but you don't understand. Star Wars sucks. Don't you get it? Star Wars sucks. Now you can't like Star Wars. Star Wars absolutely sucks. And you're just like, hey, if you don't like it, that's cool. Like, I'm still cool with you, like, and honestly, Film God, like, even with the situation that just happened, right? I wanted to be that way with that thing, even, with those guys. But there's some people who are going to accept that and say, okay, maybe there is some positivity here. Maybe we could find some common ground. And then there's always going to be those who are just out for themselves and they got one thing, And so I hope that we see a real birth of positivity. And if this thing that happened to me can do anything, is to kind of help spark that, to help get our word out that we've been talking about, to be positive and to let people love what they love. You know, don't try to tear down everybody else's thing. Just let them love what they love. If they like a movie that you don't like, that's fine. You don't have to like that movie. Just let them like it. You know, it's just, there's movies, man, that everybody hates that I love, you know? And we've talked about it a few times. Like, you know, it's like, there are people, man, who love Batman and Robin with George Clooney. Like, that's their jam. I've met them and I don't get it, but they like that movie. There's just something about that movie that flies for them. And I like it as a guilty pleasure every once in a while.
I like it. I've only seen it once, but I'm like, I never watched it in the cinema, but I watched it like at home.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't mind Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Freeze. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Freeze, sorry. And he's like, you know, he's got his funny puns and it's nice. I can enjoy it on a certain level, but I just know in the back of my mind, you know, I prefer, you know, Tim Burton's Batman or The Dark Knight or whatever.
Yes.
But you know, Zack Snyder's Batman. But just going to, like, I hope Comic-Con and events like that are not completely gone, you know, because you know, I feel like we might have taken these events for granted. You know, hopefully this kind of pandemic is done with over next year or whatever, and we can go back to meeting people and meeting your favorite creators and, you know, meeting them in person at Comic-Cons.
Yes.
Maybe DC Fandom does become like an actual event that you can go to, and not just a digital one, online one. But you know, I hope we do get that as well. But I think JusticeCon works because it's like fan made, and it's online, and it's quick, and it's done over a weekend. Everyone's talking about it. It's all good. You know, they get in touch with the directors and the writers, and it's really cool. And I think there's a place for that as well.
Yeah.
But I hope things like Comic-Con, like meeting your favorite creators in person, I hope that doesn't go away completely.
Me too, man. There's so many good memories that I have, and like pictures on my wall just outside this door right here. Actually, we've got like a wall of pictures that we've taken at our Comic-Con, you know, where we've met just various people, and, you know, like you said, like, you know, actors who are in movies that we love, and those are great memories. And I've got those pictures, you know, with my family, and like you said, there is that interaction, you know, like, yeah, I don't want those things to go away. I think it's cool that in the times that we live in right now, with all the stuff going on with the pandemic and everything, that it's cool that people come together, you know, that it's cool people can do that. And like you said, I definitely look forward to getting back to somebody was telling me about movies. It's like, yeah, heck yeah, I want the movie theater, man. I want the movie theaters to open, man. I want to go sit in that movie theater and watch, you know, whatever is coming up. We joked to my family. I said, you know, when we were doing that review last night, and we were talking about how excited we were for Justice League, you know, in whatever form it was in, we're like, I think that when the movies come back, I don't think it's going to matter what movie's playing. We're just going to come back and just be like, yes, that was awesome. That was the best movie ever, just because we're back in the theater and we're back doing, you know, what we're doing. But, well,
the last film I saw was The Invisible Man, right, in cinema.
Oh yeah.
It feels like such a long time ago. I actually feel guilty I never got to watch Bloodshot.
Mm-hmm.
So I it was there. I could have watched it, and now I'm like, oh, I wish I had.
Yeah,
yeah.
Isn't that a weird feeling? It's like, oh, I wish I had done that, just gone to see that movie, man. But you know, hopefully here soon. It's amazing that the amount of movies actually that were supposed to have come out by now. You know, when somebody mentioned this weekend that apparently this weekend was the weekend that Morbius with Jared Leto was supposed to be released, and I was like, wow, already, man. Okay. Wow, that hit me hard, actually. That you know, because like the Wonder Woman thing I know was supposed to be out, you know, for a long. Tenet obviously keeps getting pushed back, and so those are those big movies. But man, when you hear about like a Morbius movie, it's kind of like a lower key kind of, you know, movie that's been around for a while. It's like, wow, yeah, we've been going through this for a while, but But I think, you know what I think is cool about this, man, though? You know what I think is the coolest thing about everything that's happened? It's allowed me to connect with other people and allowed me to connect with people like you. And so, man, I'm grateful that you took the time to come to the Poindexter Lounge today and talk to us. And everybody's was like super happy about it. Like you can see down here, Film Gob and Enosh on a live stream. Never thought I needed this. So, and like I said, I just
that's
wanted...
Jose M. That's Jose M. He's a member on my channel. So thank you, Jose.
Yeah. And so, like I just want to tell you, you're welcome anytime. I hope that this isn't the last time that we collaborate and do some stuff together.
I'll bring you on sometime.
Yeah, and I know that I feel honored because you used part of my my videos from the last couple of weeks for one of your videos. So now I feel like that's cool, and that's an honor, and so it's just it's cool, man. I'm really glad to have gotten to talk to you. Like I said, I wanted to give you a chance because I feel like you never get a chance to talk. Like I wanted to get to know more about Film Gob and what your feelings are. It's kind of like that video that you did about Robert Meyer Burnett, where like John Campea just keeps talking.
When it's more than 4 people, that's when it's just like, I prefer to have 4 people on stream, and including myself, and that's a good number, and everyone can get a conversation going. Everyone gets a chance to talk. So I usually go on Max's stream and it's like 7 people or something.
Yeah, and then it's like everybody's talking and you can't hear yourself sometimes, but which can be funny, but not when you're trying to actually have a conversation sometimes. So speaking of Robert Meyer Burnett, so I know you're going back and forth with John Campea and everything. So this is a great time to announce that tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern time, Robert Meyer Burnett actually will be right here in the Poindexter Lounge. So that's an interesting thing.
Me and Robert might get along because I think is he from Seattle? So he's a big music fan as well, I think.
Yeah.
So I think we would get along with it. I think we're both very much into the grunge music, so from the 90s. So I think we would get along just fine. But I've made fun of him in the past for his some of his comments. So he probably doesn't like me.
Yeah.
He follows me on Twitter though. I don't know why he follows me.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's and I'm looking forward to talking to him tomorrow night because he seems like out of all those people, like in there, like he has some interesting takes sometimes. Sometimes I feel like he comes from like the fan perspective still, even though he's like kind of older than some of those guys and everything, he still kind of has that fan perspective. And so we're going to talk to him tomorrow night. We're going to pick his brain. Anything you'd like me to poke him with there and say, hey, Film Gob had this to say to you?
No, you don't even mention me. I think he's going to go off if you mention me.
No, I'm just messing. But hey guys, just show Film Gob some love. If you're not subscribed to Film Gob, obviously you need to go and you need to subscribe to him and let him know that you came from here. And if you're here watching this because Film Gob is here, thank you for coming over and watching. Yeah, let's support each other, man. I'll tell you what, there's lots of we talked about Zeverfet who's in here. We talked about Max, there's all these, I think it's cool that there's all these like this group of YouTubers that are kind of coming together and doing this thing and spreading this positivity and doing this. This is really cool. It's like a group of us strong because we're stronger together than we are apart. So Film Gob, thank you so much, man. Thank you for being you. You keep doing you. I don't know who else you're gonna go after next. Hopefully I never cross you. And you do the Enosh Fee expose and like try to pull up every stupid thing I've ever said because man, that could be rough.
I try not to go after like YouTubers that are like on the same level or smaller than me. I usually go for the kind of the corporate types, so that's who I usually kind of make fun of. So, well,
I promise I won't sell out, and I think we'll be good. I love the looks that you give in some of your videos, man. It's just classic. It's just awesome.
That's Shorty Big Shortbread. He's more of a because if you watch the last what was it? The season finale of my last season that I had on my channel.
Yeah.
That's when me and Shorty kind of merged into one. So that's why I'm wearing the hat.
Gotcha.
I know a lot of people don't like, why is he wearing the hat? What is this hat all about? But yeah, we're two characters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to tell if they merge, like, who's who and what are you becoming, man?
When Shorty speaks, you can tell.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the way I am right now.
Yeah. Well, if they start merging together, you got a whole other thing going on there. So, but yeah, man, thanks so much for joining me today. I had a really good time talking to you and just getting to know you, and I'm glad that you were able to talk and that introduced maybe some of our people to you. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. I hope you guys had fun, man. There's so many of you still here, and I know that you guys have had some great positive comments about stuff. So like I said, stay positive. There's a lot of negativity going on, in the world today, and there's a lot of negativity surrounding us. And there's always going to be naysayers. There's always going to be people who are going to hate on you for what you love and what you like, because they just can't stand the fact that you're happy. And you know what? Right now is a great time to be happy, because if you're a DC fan, we're getting the Snyder cut. If you're a DC fan, we're getting other things like with the multiverse and everything else. There's something for everybody, and that's the great thing about it. And if you're a Marvel fan and you're mad at Film Gob because he's hating on your thing, and I saw some of your comments earlier, you guys are like, oh, like I think I saw Sphinx. He was like, oh, come on, guys, and but I love Sphinx. He's great. I love his comments and stuff, and it's okay. You can love what you love. It doesn't matter. You just keep loving what you love, and we're gonna love what we love, and it's gonna be all right, because we're fans, we're nerds, and that's why we're here, because the Poindexter Lounge is a place for nerds, and that means the Poindexter Lounge is a place for you. So today we might be talking DC, but you know what? I'm sure at some point we're gonna be talking some MCU, and we're gonna be talking about other things, and I need to get schooled on Doctor Who, because a lot of great Doctor Who stuff, but I never know where to start and how to get into that. But everybody tells me I'd love it. So anyways,
that's one show, and I want to get into it as well. I mean, like, I remember growing up with it. It used to be on TV, and even the newer series look quite good, but just there's so much time. There's not enough time.
I know, man. Yeah, just when you start talking about a franchise that's like been going on for decades, and you're just
40 years or something, 50 years and everything.
Yeah, it's like, where do I start with that? I don't know, but I guess you just got to ask somebody. That that's what I keep saying. Like when I went to go see MCU movies for the first time, and I didn't know much about the MCU characters, I asked my friends, and they told me, and I was like, hey, that's cool, I can accept that. I had the same friends that were MCU fans that would go see DC movie, and they'd go see it and they didn't understand something. And instead of asking me like, why is Batman in a trench coat in like some post-apocalyptic world with a big Omega symbol out there? They're like, that's stupid. That Batman wouldn't do that. Batman wouldn't shoot a gun. Batman wouldn't do this. Superman wouldn't do this. It's like, just ask the question. I've got the answer for you right here. I got the answer for you right here, baby. Just ask the question. And so that's what you got to do. Don't hate on it. Just ask the question, and we're good. All right. So thanks, guys. We're gonna let you go, but thanks again, Film Gob. You're a great guy, man. And you just keep doing you. You keep making content, and we're gonna have some fun together. All right, guys. Till next time. My name is Enosh, aka Enosh Vet, along with Film Gob, saying stay nerdy and stand up for what's right. Absolutely. We'll see you next time.